I was wondering if you have any practical tips for mentally preparing well in the days or even minutes leading up to a tough conversation.
I love that. So I actually developed a little journal entry that I have on my website that free. It's a difficult conversation guide. So it has like the person's name, who you're going to talk to, what you know about their own character, their ability, what kind of trigger areas, what are they sensitive to, what are they not sensitive to, how confident do you feel going into that conversation? And then you have a place where you kind of assert the frame, like we talked about. What do you want to talk about? How do you want it to end? What's the buy-in? Because the biggest takeaway really is that in the difficult conversations, you're just not sure where you want to end. You're really good at taking off. You just don't know how to land the plane. You say things like, oh, I say all that to say, or what I mean to say is, when you've been talking for 15, 20 minutes. So very practical takeaway is, one, know where you want to leave, how you want to end the conversation. That's probably the biggest takeaway, is knowing where you want to end it. Two, you remove the difficult out of difficult conversation when you can prepare yourself for the unexpected opportunities. If you have in your mind that they have to say a certain thing and they don't, it's going to crash you and crumble you, because you were expecting them to agree. You were expecting them to say yes, 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 yes. And as soon as they say that thing that wasn't in your head, and you start to kind of crumble. So instead, leave room for that conversation, for them to disagree. Next would be, as I always say, have something to learn, something to prove. So if you can ask for, probably write down 3 questions that you can ask them and set the goal for the conversation. We often get into conversations to not know what the goal is, not know why we're in the room. And if you can just set a very low bar for yourself, what's one thing that I can do to make them feel heard? What's one thing I can do to show gratitude for this conversation? What's that one question I can ask that's going to make them feel like I'm listening to them? Those are the things that are going to get more out of the difficult conversation, that it's going to set you up for a very easy success.
All right, let's talk about another big stressor in the workplace around communication. And that is the long-held fear that most people would rather die than give a public speech. All right? You and I are freaks on that from the numbers,
yes,
as far as people that enjoy it. You and I look forward to it.
Yeah.
But for people that are sitting here listening and watching right now, and they're going, I'm that person.
Mm-hmm.
And yet there's going to come a moment where I've got to give a sales pitch or a presentation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Curious to know what advice you'd give to them about communicating under pressure. So not a negative environment like we've been talking about. This is just eyeballs are on you and it's not your jam.
Yeah. One thing I've really only done this with friends that have had public speeches or something, is that people want you to do good.
They do.
And there's a...
You know why? Because it's so awkward for us if you're up there killing yourself with a spoon.
Yeah, everybody, exactly. Everybody wants you. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Everybody in the crowd is cheering you on.
That's right.
They want you to do well.
Yeah.
So there's like this misconception that you're going to fail. Everybody wants to see you fail. No, everybody's really your supporter in many ways. And the people that do struggle over their words and have a difficult time, people like more than the people that are super polished.
Totally true.
Because you come across more genuine.
Yep.
You come across more likable, more relatable. When you mess up a word, this just to even tell you, when I make a video and I mess up a word, I'll leave it in. Why? Because there are people that it makes it just more real, because that's what really happened. If you're always polished, if you're always smooth, and people feel like you're not really who you are on the outside, there's something else going on. And so my biggest advice is just be who you are. Easier said than done, but when you can just be okay with sharing the vulnerability, be okay with sharing the nervousness. There's lots of little things that you could do to try and prevent yourself from being nervous, make sure you know your material, yada, yada, the transactional side of it. But the biggest takeaway is to understand that people in the crowd are really your biggest supporters, and they just want you to be real.
Yeah, yeah. I love that advice, and I also would say call it out.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that takes the elephant out of the room is stand up and tell everybody, I'm so nervous, I'm afraid you can hear my knees knocking, or whatever you're going to say.
And they'll love it.
And then all of a sudden, by you acknowledging that, I think it also drops your tension.
Yeah, and it goes for people love the underdog.
Yeah.
Same way of public speaking.
Yeah.
And if you're coming into it new, people didn't have 1,000 standards for you, thinking that you're just going to hit a grand slam and you better be the most perfect, coordinated speech ever.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
tell them who you are.
Yeah.
And if you can be able to say, I'm really nervous about this, guys. This is one of my first public talks, so you let me know. Believe me, everybody's going to be rooting for you to do well.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, this is awesome.